Good morning, children. We have already seen the preparation of bills receivable account. Now we are going to prepare bills payable account. Bills drawn by suppliers may be accepted by the business in payment for purchases made. Bills payable will affect the total of creditors. So it will be necessary to determine the amount of bills accepted during the year. The amount of bills accepted during the year can be calculated by preparing bills payable account. The format of bills payable account is given here. Children, bills payable is a liability. A liability has credit balance. So, enter the opening balance of bills payable on the credit side as by balance brought down. Children, bills payable is a liability. So, enter the opening balance of bills payable on the credit side as by balance brought down. Then enter all other items on the opposite side. That means the item which decreases bills payable enter on the debit side. The debit side items are to cash paid on bills payable, to bank, that means amount paid through bank on bills payable. Next, to sundry creditors, that means bills payable dishonored. Then to balance carried down. It is the closing balance of bills payable. Enter the opening balance of bills payable on the credit side and closing balance on the debit side as to balance carried down. Children, then find the unknown value by balancing bills payable account. Here, bills accepted during the year is the unknown value. It can be calculated by finding the difference between debit total and credit total. Okay, children, shall we do one problem? Question. From the following particulars, calculate total purchase. What is total purchase? Total purchase is equal to cash purchase plus credit purchase. Cash purchase is given in the question. We need to calculate credit purchase by preparing total creditors account. I already told you, in order to prepare creditors account, we need the amount of bill accepted during the year. The amount of bill accepted during the year is calculated by preparing bills payable account. That means the balancing figure of bills payable account is necessary for preparing the creditors account. So you should calculate bills payable account first. Okay, draw bills payable account. Then enter the items which affect bills payable on the account. The amount on bills payable are bills payable on 1st April 2017. It can be entered on the account as by balance brought down. The amount is 60,000. Then enter all other items on the opposite side as to cash 1 lakh, then to closing balance as by balance carried down 80,000. Now we entered all items in bills payable account, then find the balance. The unknown figure bills accepted during the year can be calculated by finding the difference between debit total and credit total. Debit total is 1,80,000 and the credit total is 60,000. The difference between the two is 1,20,000. Children, 1,20,000 is the amount of bill accepted during the year. Then next step, preparation of creditors account. Draw the creditors account, write the title, then abbreviations, DR on the debit side and CR on the credit side. First enter the opening balance as by balance brought down. Sundry creditors on 1st April 2017 is the opening balance. Enter as by balance brought down 75,000. Then enter all other items on the opposite side. The debit side items are 2 cash paid to creditors 3,70,000. 2 purchases returned 15,000. Then closing balances is given here, children. Before entering the closing balance, you should enter the balancing figure of bills payable account. That means amount of bills accepted during the year. Bills payable accepted during the year. The amount is 1,20,000. Then enter the closing balance as to balance carried down amount 50,000. Now we entered all items in total creditors account. Then find the balance. Children, note the point. The balancing figure of bills payable is on the credit side. That will be goes to the opposite side, debit side of the creditors account. Okay, then find the balance. The debit side total is 5,55,000. The credit side total is 75,000. The difference between the two, 5,55,000 minus 75,000 is equal to 4,80,000. 4,80,000 is credit purchases. Okay, children, now we calculated credit purchases. Then the next step, total purchases. Total purchases is equal to cash purchases plus credit purchases. Cash purchases is given in the question. It is 3,20,000 and credit purchases we calculated by preparing creditors account. That means credit purchase is the balancing figure of total creditors account, that is 4,80,000. Then 3,20,000 plus 4,80,000 is equal to 8 lakh. 8 lakh is total purchases. Okay, children. Next question. From the following details, you are required to calculate credit sales and credit purchases by preparing total debtors account, total creditors account, bills receivable account and bills payable account. Children, transactions are given there. First, you have to prepare bills receivable account, then debtors account. The balancing figure of bills receivable account is necessary for the preparation of the debtors account. So first prepare bills receivable account, then debtors account. Next, prepare bills payable account, after that creditors account. Okay, shall we do? First, bills receivable account. Draw bills receivable account and enter the transactions on the account. First, enter the opening balance. Here, opening and closing amount together given. Only one item, one transaction is given. First column is the opening amount and the second column is the closing amount. Okay. Bills receivable, which is the opening amount, 5,000 is the opening amount and 1,000 is the closing amount. Okay. First, enter the opening balance as bills receivable. What is it? It is an asset, so it has debit balance. Okay. Then enter as to balance brought down 5,000. Then enter all other items on the opposite side. The items which affect bills receivable. Okay, what are the items? Creditors is not, bills payable not, cash received from debtors, that's for the debtors account, discount allowed to customer, that's for the debtors account, cash paid to creditors, that's for creditors account, discount allowed by suppliers, that's for creditors account, payments against by bills payable, that's for bills payable account. Next, cash received for bills payable, it is for the bills receivable account. Bills receivable dishonoured, that is also for the bills receivable account. Okay, enter there children. First, we entered opening balance as to balance brought down, the amount is 5,000. Then all other items on the opposite side. By cash received for bills receivable, amount 14,000. Then by bills receivable dishonoured, 1,200. Next, closing balance as by balance carried down 1,000. Then find the balance. How? By finding the difference between credit total and debit total. Credit total is 16,200 and the debit total is 5,000. The difference between the two, 16,200 minus 5,000, that is equal to 11,200. 11,200 is bills received during the year. Children, this amount you should take to the debtors account opposite side. Okay, the next step, calculation of total debtors account. Draw the account, show the abbreviation. Children, debtor is an asset, so enter the opening balance on the debit side. All other items on the opposite side, credit side. See the question. Debtors opening balance is 60,000, closing balance is 55,000. Then note that the item which affecting debtors, cash received from debtors, discount allowed to customers. Then bills receivable dishonoured, bad debts, and one item you should take it from the bills receivable account balancing figure. Okay, shall we do? First enter the opening balance as to balance brought down, amount 60,000. Then all other items on the opposite side. By cash received from debtors, 1,30,000. By discounts allowed to customers, 5,500. Then by bad debts, children, bills receivable dishonoured is on the opposite side, that means on the debit side. Next item is bad debts. By bad debts, 3,500. Then take the balancing figure of bills receivable account. What is that? 11,200. Okay, by bills received during the year, 11,200. Then bills receivable dishonoured on the debit side. 2 bills receivable dishonoured, 1,200. Children, let me to explain once more. Opening debtors on the debit side as to balance brought down 60,000. Then by cash received 1,30,000. By discount allowed 5,500. By bad debts 3,500. By bills receivable received during the year 11,200. Then closing balance as by balance carried down 55,000. Then on the debit side, bills receivable, 2 bills receivable dishonoured, 1,200. Children, note the point. Balancing figure of bills receivable account that we got on debit side, while preparing debtors account, that will goes to the opposite side. Okay. Then bills receivable dishonoured we entered on the credit side in bills receivable account. While preparing total debtors account, it will goes to the opposite side, debit side. Okay. Then find the balance. The credit side total is greater than the debit side. The amount is 2,05,200. The debit side total is 61,200. The difference between the two, 2,05,200 minus 61,200 is equal to 1,44,000. 1,44,000 is the credit sales. It is the balancing figure. Okay, children. Next, preparation of bills payable account. Draw the bills payable account. Bills payable is a liability. Enter the opening balance on the debit side as enter the opening balance on the credit side as by balance brought down amount 2000. Then all other items on the opposite side. Here only one item which affect bills payable. What is that? Payment against bills payable. Okay, enter that on the debit side as to cash account or cash paid on bills payable amount 7,000. Then enter the closing balance as to balance carried down 3,000. Then find the balance. The balancing figure is debit side total 10,000, credit side total 2,000. The difference between the two 8,000 is bills accepted during the year. Children, it will goes to the debit side of the creditors account. Okay, the next step, total creditors account. See the question. Take the item which affecting sundry creditors. Opening balance, closing balance and two other items are given here. Draw the account. Then start with opening balance. How? Creditor is a liability. So, enter the opening balance on the credit side as by balance brought down amount 25,000. Then all other items on the debit side. To cash paid to creditors 70,000. To discount allowed by suppliers 3,500. Then closing balance as to balance carried down amount 28,000. Children, don't forget, before writing the closing balance, take the balancing figure of bills payable accepted during the year. Let me to explain once more. First, by balance brought down 25,000. Then on the debit side as to cash paid to creditors 70,000. To discount allowed by suppliers 3,500. Next, to bills payable accepted during the year. The amount is 8,000. Then enter the closing balance as to balance carried down amount 28,000. Then find the balance. Debit side total is greater than the credit side. Debit side total 1,09,500. Credit side total 25,000. The difference between the two 1,09,500 minus 25,000 is equal to 84,500. Okay, children. Amount 1,09,500 children, not the point, not 1,09,000. Amount 1,09,500. Debit side total is 1,09,500 minus credit side total 25,000. The difference between 1,09,500 minus 25,000 is equal to 84,500. 84,500 is credit purchase. Okay, children. Solve exercise 15 and 16. Let me to explain the question. Exercise 15. From the following particular, calculate total purchase. Total purchase. For that you have to prepare bills payable account and creditors account. First, bills payable account. Bills payable liability. Enter the opening balance on the credit side as by balance brought down amount 25,000. Next, all other items on the debit side. To cash paid for bills payable 30,000. Next, closing balance of bills payable as to balance carried on 20,000. Then no more items. Then find the balance. Okay. Then while balancing, you will get bills payable accepted 25,000. Next, prepare total creditors account. Creditor is also liability, so enter the opening balance on the credit side as by balance brought down. The amount is 30,000. Next, on the debit side, to cash paid to creditors 1,20,000. Next, to purchases returned 15,000. Cash purchase, children, no need to take. It is for calculating total purchase. No need to take that here. Next, closing creditors as to balance carried on 25,000. Then while balancing, you will get credit purchase 1,55,000. Okay, the next step, calculate total purchase. Total purchase is equal to cash purchase plus credit purchase. Cash purchase is given in the question. It is 2,25,000. Credit purchase, you take it from your creditors account balancing figure, that is 1,55,000. The total purchase is 3,80,000. Okay children, the next question is 16. Question number 16. See the question. From the following details, you are required to calculate credit sales and credit purchases. For calculating credit sales, you need to prepare bills receivable account, total debtors account. For calculating credit purchases, you need to prepare bills payable account and total creditors account. Okay. Balances on 1st April, that means opening item. Balances on 31st March 2019, that is closing item. Then other information also given. First, draw the bills receivable account. Bills receivable is an asset. Enter the opening balance on the debit side as to balance brought down amount 30,000. Next, all on opposite side. The opposite side items are cash received from debtors not, discount allowed not, cash paid not, discount allowed, payment again not, that's not, cash received for bills receivable. Okay, what is that next first item on the credit side? By cash received for bills payable receivable 60,000. Next, bills receivable dishonored 4,000. Next, how can you enter that bills receivable dishonored? And not enter as bills receivable dishonored, enter as by sundry debtors. In bracket you have to write bills receivable dishonored amount 4,000. Okay. Then closing balance as to balance carry down amount 8,000. Okay. Let me to explain once more. To balance brought down 30,000. By cash received for bills receivable 60,000. By sundry debtors in bracket bills receivable dishonored 4,000. Then closing balance by balance carry down 8,000. Then find the balance. You will get the balancing figure 42,000. Okay. Next step is sundry debtors account. Opening balance on the debit side as to balance brought down amount 2,40,000. Next all on the opposite side. By cash received from debtors 6 lakh. By discount allowed to customers 25,000. Next, by bad debts 16,000. Next, balancing figure of bills receivable as by bills receivable received during the year amount 42,000. Then closing balance by balance carried down 2,20,000. Children, don't forget to enter bills receivable dishonored on the debit side. 2 bills receivable dishonored 4,000. Okay, then balance debtors account. You will get the credit sales. Next, calculate bills payable account. Bills payable is a liability, so enter on the credit side. Opening balance on the credit side as by balance brought down amount 10,000. Then all items on the debit side. 2. Payment against bills payable 30,000. Then no dishonor. So enter the closing balance. 2. Balance carry down 20,000. Let me to explain once more. By balance brought down 10,000. Then on the debit side 2 cash in bracket paid on bills payable. Then closing balance as 2 balance carry down 20,000. Then balance you will get. Then next, total creditors account. Opening balance on the credit side as by balance brought down amount is 1,20,000. Then all on the debit side. Debit side items are 2 cash paid to creditors 3,20,000. 2 discount allowed by suppliers 10,000. Then balancing figure of bills payable account, that means bills payable accepted during the year 40,000. Next closing balance 2 balance carry down 1,50,000. Then balance creditors account you will get credit purchase. Okay, thank you children.